what are the common internal blocker for people who actually avail of the assessment? Because even if you avail of the assessment and you're not truly open to it, what are the typical blocker that you see?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And it's been an ongoing frustration for me on how do I educate the planet? How do I educate people? How do we educate the people on to understand that this is not just an assessment where you get it. It's like, oh, that's nice. It's not a Facebook quiz. It's not something that's like, okay, because in the next 2-3 years, my biggest goal for HumanOp is I want to be able to walk by a cafe and when you are doing things in alignment, it's simple. It gives you more energy. It helps you feel vitality. You get lit up. If you do things that go against your nature, you get tired. You lose energy. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the IWillAim podcast. Our topic for today is living your best life. We're often told that our lives are best lived when we reinvent ourselves, chase success, or follow someone else's blueprint. But what if the key isn't changing who we are, but understand who we truly are so that we could live in alignment with our highest self? Today, I'm honored to sit down with Wei Hong, co-founder of HumanOp, whose mission is to help people decode their nature, unlock more profound clarity, and design lives that actually feel like them. Wei, welcome.
Thank you, Will. Thank you so much for having me. I love the audience that you serve. I love the message you preach all the time. And I'm grateful that we get to be here and have some conversations.
I'm looking forward to our conversation. How about if we kick off with a quick introduction?
Sure. So yeah, I'm one of the four co-founders of the HumanOp Technologies. The technology is about 20 years of research. We've been doing this patent about 10 years ago. My personal journey in human optimization has been about over 30 years now.
Wow.
I have to remind myself because I forget, and I keep saying the same year over and over until somebody reminds me, says, "Wait, I've been watching you 5 years. You said the same number." I'm like, "Oh, add more, +5." So now I was gonna say been over 30 years, and my journey has been one that has been inspired by my own personal journey of navigating childhood and just being pulled in a million directions, of not knowing who I am, like you were saying. And then finally realizing that who we are is the shape-shifting dynamic, and how we make sure that we are in alignment, as you were saying in the introduction, to decode our understanding of what we are. That's the answer to getting ourselves back into alignment of how we naturally came into this world. So yeah, I think about 10 years ago, I met Dr. Zana Hackett, who was the creator of this technology, and she and I were in total alignment. And with our other two co-founders of Lisa Nelson and Martin Young, who is from the Philippines, we came together to reinvent the technology in a way so that we can make it as easy as possible for every human being on the planet to get access to their own unique blueprint of self, so that they can take the guesswork of what it means to create success and happiness and productivity and performance in a sustainable way. And I think the big word is sustainable, because I don't know about you, but I've gone through burnout tracks. I've gone through scenarios where I've glommed on to how other people were doing things, only to find myself burnt out because I could do it. I could learn it. One of my superpowers, but also as a double-edged sword, is that I can learn what anybody else does and do it, and maybe do it better. But then at some point, I realize I've just chameleoned myself to somebody, and now I'm burnt out again, right? And so what has been a big motivator of our current mission here at HumanOp is the fact that, what if we don't have to copy someone else or copy someone else's system or program, and we lean more into how we naturally are? Stop guessing. Then what could this whole planet do then, when everybody knows exactly what they're here to do? So that's a little bit of premise about what I'm all about at HumanOp.
So how about we take you back to the moment that you decide this is what you want to do? Can you tell me that moment, inflection point, right? Before you become part of the HumanOp. What was life looks like back then?
Yeah, great question. I'll tell you, I wouldn't wish my life's journey on my worst enemy. Why? I'm what you call the consummate stove toucher, that you can't just tell me what to do that's better. I have to experience it myself. For good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. I'm the kind that likes to touch the stove. The stove is hot. The stove is hot. No, is it? And I'll touch the stove anyway. It's like, you're right. It's hot. It's hot. My journey in this really started in junior high when I was getting bullied and I wasn't being understood, to the point where I thought there was something wrong with me, right? And then I tried so hard to follow the path that my parents, who are from Taiwan, my first generation here, that I'm supposed to do the traditional thing, be a doctor, an engineer, or a lawyer. But my dad's an engineer, so even those weren't options. It was just engineer. And so he chose my major. I went to UCLA for computer science engineering and wanted nothing to do with tech when I came out. And here I am in Silicon Valley doing tech. Well, what do you know? Full circle. But I think it was because I struggled so much in life, jumping from one thing to another, trying to, not in an effort to, well, I thought I was trying to make money. But in reality, I was trying to find myself in the context of different industries, different jobs. And there have been many cathartic moments where I feel a big shift has happened. And when I started to explore the possibility of being a coach, which I didn't even know was an option, or was it even a career, I was trying to follow the rules of coaching. Thou shalt not coach family, thou shalt not coach friends, because it gets to a point where you can't coach them anymore and it's too close. Then I had an opportunity to break that rule to fully support a cousin of mine that was really struggling. And because I was trying to follow the rules of not to be ethical and not coach family or friends, I missed an opportunity to potentially, I'm not saying it's my fault, potentially help him from leaving the planet prematurely. And when that happened, it was kind of a wake up call to this, kind of like F the rules. Why did I in my deep gut knew that I could have done more? And again, I'm not taking on the full onus of that. I could have turned it around. I mean, people have their own journey. Their path is their path, right? Their time is their time. But maybe I could have. At least that's what I was thinking back then. And maybe that experience was what was needed for me to just double down and say, forget this. I am committing 100%. I'm going full time on helping the fellow human being in any way I can. So I immersed myself in more certifications. I swore not to go back to school after I was done with UCLA because I was so burnt out on school. And here I am now, signing up for programs, signing up to learn more, to learn everything there was to possibly learn in modalities about helping another human being. And then realizing I hit a threshold and going back into the HumanOp library and taking my experience and understanding quantum physics and thermodynamics and all the things about the universe and blending that with everything I learned to finally say, okay, I think I have a fundamental understanding. And then about 10 years ago, after 20 years of just doing all of that and helping like thousands of people all over the world, 10 years ago, I came across this technology that kind of gave a home to everything that I had been doing up to that point. And that's when it really elevated my commitment over 30 years ago to help humanity in any way I can, to a whole new level where I could actually see the possibilities of the legacy I could potentially leave behind, a technology and a movement that will continue for generations to come, helping humanity, if I set it up right.
Well, first of all, thank you for that for telling that challenging story. Secondly, I think thank you for what you're doing now, trying to help people move in the right direction. And more importantly, what I really like is in alignment. You're living in alignment with yourself. Let's talk about more about human ops, right? What exactly is the mission of human ops, and what do you foresee the change you want to see in this world?
That's a big question. There's a lot. And I think part of the biggest challenge some of my fellow co founders have, and also the people within our organization, is how do we bring way back to the present because he constantly lives in the future. So we
Yeah.
can go as far out as you want. But the fundamental challenge I find right now that is creating the most friction in the world is conflict, right? And it's not always conflict with another human being, although we see some of that, and I tell people how our technology can fix that. But a lot of it is the dissonance with ourselves that you've been saying, right? It's like that conflict and that cognitive dissonance, like what I'm doing does not resonate. And what HumanOp is capable of doing is bring a high level of objectivity to the understanding of self and others. Now, how we know that our technology works is because it's actually not new technology. Dr. Zana, who's my co-founder, my fellow co-founder who invented the technology, I love her because for a lot of things, but one of the reasons is when a lot of people talk to her and say, "Oh my God, your technology," she goes, actually, this is not my technology. I just figured out how to translate what nature's been telling us since we've been on the planet.
What
Right.
universe is trying to tell you?
Yeah, right. I mean, the fundamentals of physical law and gravity and nuclear force, all that existed before language. And how we know that it works is because modern language is only 50,000 years old. Now, it seems like a lot until you compare to how long human beings have been on the planet. We've been on the planet for almost over 2 million years. So for 1.95 million years, we survived on the planet without language. How? Because we did what everything else in nature does still today. We looked into the nature of ourselves. We looked into the physical representation of ourselves. We honored the universal language of nuclear forces, electromagnetism, and we felt the energy of vibration and the frequency of dynamics that exists to this day. Modern language has almost blinded us to what the fundamentals of our survival has been as a species. And what all we've done is now we've taken that same understanding of the nature of things, added the powerful tool of language to it for precision and accuracy and efficiency. And now we're bringing it back. It's like bringing bell bottoms back, but now we're bringing an understanding of human beings back, right? With precision, with language. And so those who kind of dive into our world will recognize that we use a lot of as objective as possible objective language to help describe ourselves so that we can learn how to truly set the boundaries of understanding with the people that we engage with every single day. This will mitigate conflict. Conflict, as we know it, will go away when a human being can honor the unique nature of another human being. A group of human beings can honor them without having to project your value system or your who-ness into another human being just because they're different. With our technology, you can recognize and objectively understand, well, this is why we have different perspectives and we operate differently in life. It's not a cultural thing, it's not an ethnic thing, it's not a language thing, it is a nature thing. All of a sudden, we can't being in conflict with another human being becomes 100% a choice. If you objectively understand why that conflict exists, then all of a sudden it's all on you, right? If you want this conflict to continue, that's you. It's a choice.
For our listener, if they wanted to avail or use HumanOp, what's the process and how do they become avail of it or be part of it?
Yeah, I mean, the timing of doing this with you, Will, right now is couldn't be better. Prior to maybe even last year, in order to access our technology, we were running a consultative model, but a high-end consultative model. So the only human beings who could access our technology over the last 20 years have been people who could afford it, which was great for business. But for me, I hated it because always felt that every human being on the planet deserved to have access to this. This is how we make the world a better place. And so last year, we finally figured out one of the best ways, and we feel like maybe because the world just wasn't ready until last year, to create a free model where people can get at
Free
least
model.
free model to get a basic foundation. You go to humanop.com, you pick the path you want to go through. It gives you access to create an account. You go take a short 10, 15-minute assessment that asks you questions about the physical nature of yourself, the fundamental basic nuclear force activities that you do that feed your drivers, all these different components that you really can't lie about. And then after about 10 to 15 minutes, you can go into your account and it'll give you all the information you need, even at a basic level, to start changing your life for the better, to take the guesswork of what you should lean into for your purpose, for your career, for your relationships, for how you are as a human being, to start to separate undesirable nurture behaviors so that you can spend most of your time in your nature. All that is offered for free now. Now, people will then say, well, how do you monetize? Well,
Yeah.
there's more data, there's more information you can obviously get access to. You can get more access to our authentic intelligence engine, which is kind of like your coach in a pocket that will over time remember everything that you're doing. So yeah, that stuff you can pay for. To change your life right away, you don't need all of that. In fact, it's too much if you use all of that. In the beginning, making big changes in our life is not complicated. That's a human made construct. Nature will always be easy or hard depending on the season. As we know, we see it in nature. But complexity, that's a human made construct.
Mm.
Simplicity is nature. Nature is simple, right?
Yes.
Complexity is something that human beings have developed over time to as an effort to establish personal value as a response to not knowing self. So we make things as complicated as possible and say, hey, this is my complication. I'll teach it to
Yeah.
you. Then we're passing it on. We're passing on the complexity, right?
I think for our listener, go to HumanOp. I'll put the link on the episode
Please.
itself. Go in and do an assessment. It's 15 minutes, as Wei said, and get to know more about yourself and how you gain alignment with your life. My next question for you is: what are the common internal blocker for people who actually avail of the assessment? Because even if you avail of the assessment and you're not truly open to it, what are the typical blocker that you see in
Oh,
people who
that's
avail and not make progress?
Yeah, that's such a good question, and it's been an ongoing frustration for me on how do I educate the planet? How do I educate people? How do we educate the people on to understand that this is not just an assessment where you get it, it's like, oh, that's nice. It's not a Facebook quiz. It's not a something that's like, okay, because that's why we invest so much in our marketing to say, what now? What's next? Right. And in the app and in our technology itself, we're constantly creating functions to help facilitate the answer to that question. And, I have to remind our community, we do free workshops in our headquarters in Silicon Valley every single week, Thursday nights. And every week I have to remind everybody that taking the assessment in and of itself provides some great insight, but it doesn't change your life until you do something about it.
Yep, true.
But it gives you a very efficient blueprint that you can recognize it won't be a waste of time. The problem with a lot of personal development, personal growth industry, and again, everything is well intended for the most part. But the challenge is there's a trust factor that needs to supersede the skeptical factor, right? Because it's not a lot of it's not grounded in science and nature or mathematics like ours is. And that's why we're the only human assessment technology in the world that currently is patented, because it's not based on psychometrics. It's not based on modeling someone else's cognitive patterns. It is based on the nature of you. And so that's why we're not super attached to people believing our stuff. They can be as skeptical as they want. All we ask is that try it. And the fundamental feedback is this, is that when you are doing things in alignment, it's simple. It gives you more energy. It helps you feel vitality. You get lit up. That's the easiest measure. And if you do things that go against your nature, you get tired. You lose energy. And that's at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Everything that we do gets converted to a form of energy. We eat food to what? Convert it to energy that is
Yes.
required for our body to stay alive. Our technology basically takes it to a whole new level of how do you then structure all the activities in your life, the way you approach and think about things, so that you continue to optimize that amount of energy so you are very efficient about how you get things done every single day.
Well, thank you for explaining that. I want to take it one step further. A person who went in, took the assessment, how do they now take that result and incorporate in their daily life? Because decision is one thing, but action is ultimately what's going to get you to where you need to be. So, how do they now incorporate what they learn about themselves? What are some of the key advice you have for people to be able to incorporate? Like, because life is in itself is challenging, right? You have work life, relationship, personal aspect. How do you give them that like framework for them to apply it?
Yeah, great question. So, our technology built into the free version of the app immediately gives you, on the free version, a 14-day action plan, optimization
Oh,
plan
wow. Okay.
that is customized to you. The video results that are about 40 to 50 minutes of deep diving into understanding yourself in a practical way, that's also customized to the person. Within the app itself is also a 7-part mini podcast series we call the HumanOp Integration Podcast, where our master trainer, Lisa, and I have a conversation going deep on understanding how each category is applicable and how it can be done to start making immediate changes in your life. For those who are local, we have weekly workshops that teach people on how to use this to solve everyday problems like communication problems, making tough decisions, or setting appropriate boundaries. Those are just some of the examples of the things that we do. And it's all through the context of the technology. One of the biggest things that I tell people is this: if there's one thing that you get really good at, is understand your motivational drivers and start to incorporate the activities every single day that feed your drivers. When you do that, you'll never burn out. If you structure your life in accordance to activities that directly keep your motivational drivers in the strong state of existence, burnout will be a thing of the past. You'll never have to deal with that. Clarity of thought goes, the fog that goes there because of elevated voices, that goes away too. And so there's so many different approaches to solve different problems. We've distilled it down over the years as much as we could, and we realized we can't take away one thing. So it's going to be a lot in the beginning, but like with any new language or being disconnected from the matrix, there is a little bit of commitment to or courage to stay with it. But I guarantee it will change your life if you simply go through what is provided within the software application.
Well, so definitely take the assessment. I actually, after our meet and greet, I
Mhm.
actually was on your website and I
Yeah,
had the tab open, but I didn't take the assessment.
it's
But
okay.
this time I would, so I encourage everyone to take the assessment.
Yeah, and Will, after you take it, my personal offer to you, beyond what the public sees, what you see on the public level, since we've already connected, let me know on a separate call. I'll be more than happy to show you the raw data, just to show
Wow.
you the geekery and show you like just how deep this actually goes beyond just the free public version.
I'll take you up on that one.
Yeah, for sure. I hope you do, because this
Yeah,
this
definitely,
is it's an important thing, right? The more people who know
definitely.
about this, the better.
When we talk about the best life in the modern culture, people imagine fast car, big house, yacht, jets, right? In human ops, what's your perspective of best life?
That in a normal context would be a really loaded question. Best is 100% subjective. When people try
Which is challenging, right?
Yeah, it's 100% subjective, because here's the thing, and I'll use examples of this of people within our community. So, we have people in our community who are driven by a specific driver called aesthetic sensibility, which is all about creating beauty in the world, presenting knowledge, presenting well. And they have what we call in one of our categories is alchemic boundaries, where they understand how to set boundaries and tolerance for people, places, and things. And if they have a relatively high alchemy, okay, and if they're listening to this and they have access to the technology, they know what I'm talking about, then yeah, you'll those people will have those presentations of the fast cars, thinking, presenting well, high refinement of things. And then I have another person in our community, and she doesn't have that. She, in fact, has a different driver called humility, where she doesn't care about the spotlight. In fact, it exhausts her to be presented in that way. And she's also very down to earth, very organic, loves rock climbing and all these different things. And for her, the best life is simply being able to be out in nature, to be in her own space, and be able to have that freedom to just be relaxed and be chill. If you show her fast cars and everything, she's like,
Yeah.
does nothing. It does nothing for her. And so when we say best, the reason why people use that in the marketing is because they're taking advantage of the fact that people don't know what their best actually
Yes.
is.
True.
And they're looking and they're seeking. What we can do with the tech now is like, you can take it and you can start to define what best actually is for you. And then you can pick and choose what marketing that you lean into, or what advertising that you kind of like, resonate with.
I think that's a key word, right? What's best for you,
Right.
not best defined by everyone else.
Exactly.
As we look ahead for human ops, how do you see it evolving over the next 2, 3 years? We're not going to talk about 5, 10 years because
Yeah.
a lot of things evolve, right? The way your
I could
technology
talk
evolves.
100 years. How about that?
We won't be here by then.
That's okay. I still have a vision for it.
But near term, 2, 3 years, where do you see human ops going to be?
So my goal for HumanOp over the next 2-3 years, and I see this as an exponential opportunity, is to really start to carve out a part of the household names that are being mentioned. Already, we're seeing a little bit of that in just the last few months of our recent efforts in getting this in the hands of as many people as possible. I met somebody and they were for the first time, and I was telling them about HumanOp. And then he goes home, and that night he texts me a screenshot from someone that I don't know, telling him to go take the HumanOp assessment. And to me, that is such a huge moment, because previously, the only way people knew about it is if one of us told them about it. We're at a point right now where people are starting to see the value of it, and then bringing in their friends and family into the fold to really help each other understand each other on a deep, profound, clear, objective level. So in the next 2-3 years, my biggest goal for HumanOp is habits. I want to be able to walk by a cafe and someone use our language talking about feeding their drivers or opening their communications or talking about their traits with the objective languaging that we've defined. And I have no idea who they are, right? Where we
That'd be
start.
super cool, right? That'd be super cool.
Exactly. And then being able to align with individuals like yourself and big influencers out there who want to also have the same core values on making this world a better place, and building out our impact alliance partnerships so that we can start to create these ecosystems in the largest metropolitan areas, so that human beings can finally feel like they have a chance of making it, no matter where they are in life, no matter what age they're in, that it's never too late to finally lean into the true, authentic nature of yourself. I know it still may seem like a lot in 2-3 years, but with how social media is, and the power that we're seeing now in our communities that are happening here, it's I think it's possible from my perspective.
I personally would take the assessment tonight. I think I love the power of alignment, and I totally believe in that one. If we want to put a number, right? I'm a number person. I'm a data person. If you want to put a number out there, how many people do you want to to be taking your assessment over the next 2 years?
Over the
A
next two
million,
years,
a million, 2 million
the million was supposed to be for next year. So,
next year.
due,
Wow,
due to
that's
the exponential nature of it all, I mean, just the last 2 months alone, and we're still in the beta phase right now, and we're migrating out of that over the next week or two. I mean, we added five over 500, maybe 600 people into our beta breaker club, which is like the beta testing group, and that's not even us promoting anything. And so once we get out there and start to align ourselves with influencers that are in alignment with the core values that we could bring to the table, I would say, over the next 2-3 years, if we can get several million as users on there, this world will start to feel the impact of human beings that have been empowered to own themselves and really lean into what their unique value proposition is in this lifetime. We're going to see some massive changes and impact in that
well.
world.
That'd be amazing, right? I think if we're able. So I'm going to join the bandwagon. I'm going to take the assessment tonight, and when I
Love it.
release the episode, I'm going to tell everyone about it. I'm very much I very much believe in helping one another to grow and to improve. And alignment is one thing that I really love. As the founder of the organization, how do you stay recharged, or how do you maintain your enthusiasm in this particular topic? You're changing the world, but how do you keep yourself like excited?
Yeah. Well, it's like what I say all the time. We have to eat our own dog food, right?
Yeah,
We have
true.
to practice what we preach, right? And so the beautiful thing about us co-founders, we are constantly supporting each other and reminding each other of our own unique vehicles of self. I was talking to another gentleman today, and he also has about 3 co-founders, and was asking about, how do you guys stay in line? And I said, well, the beautiful thing is we practice what we preach. I am designed in a certain way to be able to bring this product out to the marketplace, to the world, right? Lisa Nelson, who's our master trainer, she doesn't have the same vehicle as me, so she doesn't even try to do what it is that I do. And so for me, what feeds me is optimism, aesthetic sensibility, and creating order. Those are like the 3 most prominent drivers of mine that motivates me and drives me to be able to present my gifts, share my knowledge. My energy pool is significant. That's also defined in that. It's like your gas tank. And it's so huge that it's natural for me to go out there and present this at a very, very big level on stages and everything like that. And so the more I honor my unique nature of self in doing that, the easier it is for me to perpetuate and sustainably continuously go out there doing what it is that I do. My other co-founders, they're not designed the same way. And so they've leaned into what they do. So we all get to stay in our lanes and nobody judges the other because we see it literally in our dashboards and in the results of our technology. So in a way, it's we eat our own dog food, we practice what we preach, and that's how we maintain that. Now, I am still human. Do I get tired? Of course. Do I get overly excited and too much in the future? Yeah. And then do I need to then recognize, like, I think I need a break? Well, that's why community is so important. You know, people can see that and they give us gentle reminders like, hey, you should take tomorrow off. It's like, I don't want to. It's like, yeah, you should. We need you around a little bit longer.
Well, thank you for sharing what excites you. For my listener, if they want to engage you, have a conversation with you, or even like invite you to speak at their event, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, I'm not hard to find. You could just Google me. I'm all over the internet, but humanop.com. But you can also email me at way@humanop.com, Weihoung. You can find me on LinkedIn. Just connect with me and say, hey, I heard you on Will's podcast, and that will give you like a backstage pass ticket, and we'll
Whoa!
book something, right? And we'll
So
chat.
everyone who listens to that, it's a backstage pass, right? So
Exactly.
the VIP section.
Exactly. So we'll sit down and chat, and we'll book some time, have some virtual coffee, or come by our community here in Silicon Valley if you're local, and then we'll hang out.
Thank you, Wayne, for your time. I really appreciate being a guest on my podcast, and thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to taking the assessment and also share it to the world.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for creating the space for this. I really appreciate you and appreciate your vision and your heart as well.
You're welcome.